All right, guys, so I am happy to inform you that apparently the community fighting back in Minneapolis is working. So look at this. You have to read this stuff. The morale crisis is worse than even I was saying. These recruits, ICE recruits, are scared and their families are disowning them, and there's an epidemic of needing psychiatric intervention. These ICE agents, the thugs, the gangsters deployed to Minneapolis to harass the innocent people there, they're trying to put on, a brave front of, we're cracking down on these innocent people and we're proud to do it. But it's getting to them that so many people from the community have flooded the streets. They're fighting back. They're blowing the whistles. They're informing people of their rights. They're protecting each other. The ICE agents are aware. And by the way, the ICE agents' family members are like, what the fuck are you doing? Get a real job. What is this shit? What is this? You harass people? Like, what are you doing? Okay, so here we go. This is Ken Klippenstein reporting. Immigration agents terrified of ICE backlash after shooting. Leaked documents show Border Patrol needs volunteers for Minneapolis surge. So here's Greg Bavino, the tiny little boy who gets off on the idea of looking like Nazis, as you could tell from this picture. I mean, this is, literally spitting image Nazi type shit here. Incredibly disturbing. In the wake of an ICE officer's killing of Renee Good, the Department of Homeland Security is rolling out Operation Metro Surge, flooding Minneapolis with hundreds of additional federal agents, only to realize it doesn't actually have the confidence to match the bravado. While Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem and others in the administration preen about justifying last week's shooting and trumpet their war on domestic terrorism, DHS is privately divided and hesitant about the latest deployments. According to documents leaked to me, not only is the department seeking volunteers for the apparently unpopular mission, it is urging its agents to maintain a low profile and comply with the use of force policies. In other words, they're looking at the actions of ICE on the ground, and even they're saying, hey man, a lot of this stuff is illegal, might want to reel it in a little bit. On Friday, DHS sought volunteers to deploy to Minneapolis, in part due to opposition within the ranks, according to Border Patrol agents and other Homeland Security workers who have reached out to me. Quote, please begin canvassing your personnel for volunteers, a memo sent by the Border Patrol's Acting Assistant Chief Joshua Andrew Post on Friday. The memo outlines a request for 300 additional personnel, 200 Border Patrol agents, and 100 processing coordinators to be funneled into Operation Metro Surge by Sunday, January 11th. By the way, can we just pause and point out how fucking crazy it is that they're naming these operations? Like, they're acting like this is literally an act of war, because it is. You're just waging war against your own country. Operation Metro Surge? These motherfuckers are acting like they're fighting ISIS or Al-Qaeda or the Nazis or some shit. Nope, you are the Nazis. Look in the mirror. Here we go. A Border Patrol agent familiar with the discussion said the volunteer push reflects real unease in the ranks about the Good shooting in Minneapolis and the related surge. Quote, we do have personnel, but some just don't want to go, the agent told me. Asked about the hunt for volunteers, DHS and Customs and Border Protection did not respond to my request for comment. Quote, there might be some immature knuckleheads who think they are out there trying to capture Nicolas Maduro, but most field officers see a clear need for de-escalation. A high-level career official at Homeland Security headquarters in Washington also told me there is genuine fear that indeed ICE's heavy-handedness and the rhetoric from Washington is more creating a condition where the officers' lives are in danger rather than the other way around. Oh, God. What about our lives? What about my life? You guys are the fucking Gestapo. Think about what you're doing to other people. Look, I understand in theory they're trying to say something that's on our side here by saying like, oh, because the White House is so psychopathic and the rhetoric is so over the top, that leads to more of a backlash. On some level, that's true, but the backlash is because we're right. And you guys are harassing everybody. So just don't do it. Okay, let's continue. Within hours of the shooting, Noem held a press conference declaring Renee Good had carried out an act of domestic terrorism when she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over, as Noem put it. Quote, there was a video and she just lied. The Border Patrol agent said of Noem's characterization of the incident. That's interesting. This particular Border Patrol agent said, Kristi Noem just lied. So here's a Border Patrol agent going, that shooting was totally unjustified. It wasn't domestic terrorism. It just wasn't. Interesting how many people from within that organization are saying similar things. The senior DHS official adds that an increasing number of Homeland Security workers are concerned about the public backlash. Quote, the claim is that recruiting is up, but there is also dread that the gung-ho types that ICE and the Border Patrol are bringing in have a propensity toward confrontation and even violence. So in other words, all of the new recruits, these Proud Boys and white nationalists, that they are even less professional than the people that came before them. Today, Border Patrol Tactical Commander Greg Bavino circulated a legal refresher for agents in the field, including on the use of force. Not a move that screams certainty about their conduct, and the department has sent memos to volunteers in Minneapolis warning about their operational security, covering everything from removing any signs of law enforcement affiliation when they are around their hotels to turning off location settings on their phones so that they can't be tracked. The guidance also remind agents that things like profanity, insults, and rude gestures directed at them are not illegal, though incitement is. But they're having to warn the agents, people are allowed to say fuck you. People are allowed to curse you out. They're allowed to say they hate you. They're allowed to say they think you're ruining this country. They're allowed to say all that stuff. You can't fucking attack them because they're saying stuff like that. This is all the evidence here that Ken Klippenstein posted. This is the stuff that's being circulated on the interior between, ICE officers and DHS people and Border Patrol officials. Quote, "It sounds like they're entering a war zone," says senior intelligence official who has been involved in discussions about calming the waters around ICE deployments. Telling a bunch of 20-somethings to be prepared for war and terrorism creates the very conditions officials are cautioning about. The Border Patrol agent said that while a significant minority of his colleagues agree with him, they are not comfortable speaking out given the political climate. So in other words, they're afraid if they come out and say, hey, we need to reel it in a little bit. We need to stop being so aggressive. We need to maybe not be doing as many raids as we're doing and going after as many people as we're going after. You have these DHS officials who are going, if I say that, I'm going to get fired and there's going to be retribution against me. And then you're only going to have the psychopaths that are within the Border Patrol system and ICE. And then they get even worse. Then they're even more unhinged because there's nobody here like us to try to pump the brakes. The agent also warned that the voluntary deployments, despite being symptomatic of splits within the agency, could further inflame the situation in Minneapolis. Quote, "Key word is it's on a voluntary basis," the Border Patrol said. "If no experienced senior agents step up, they send the new guys straight out of the academy. Not a good idea. That's fucking terrifying." He continued, "In a nutshell, it's us versus them on steroids, and I think some Border Patrol agents are more willing to use force and not feel restrained when you got DHS leadership lying to cover for them. For example, Kristi Noem lying her ass off on what happened is like saying to the federal agents on the ground, go ahead and do whatever you have to do. We got your back. We will find a way to justify it." So basically what happened here, to sum this up for you, the Border Patrol agents who have a conscience, the people working in DHS who have some semblance of a conscience, reached out to Ken Klippenstein and spilled all the tea. And basically, you got the half-decent people are going, I don't want to do these fucking deployments. Well, I don't want to go to Minnesota and fucking harass these innocent people, right? And then you have the new recruits, fresh out of the academy, their 47 days of non-training, where they didn't have to do sit-ups because they axed that. They're like, I'll go. And they're going looking forward to fucking up innocent people. Looking forward to beating somebody's ass and then having the vice president and the president and Kristi Noem go out there and defend them. And no matter what, come hell or high water, it doesn't matter. I will defend you. They just defended an agent who shot a 37-year-old mother in the face 3 times at point-blank range. There is nothing they won't defend. So you have now set up a system where, and I'm not kidding about this, the most psychopathic, sociopathic, fucking serial killer ass freaks who have broken brains and zero moral conscience whatsoever. These are the people who are going to be in these positions, who are now basically waging war against the American public. So, I mean, shit, that's crazy, bro. So what I would say to the family members of these people, hurry up with that disowning shit. Because somebody's got to reel these motherfuckers in. The other problem is, look, as we said, over $100 billion was given to ICE. They're now one of the biggest militaries on earth on their own. And they're like a domestic paramilitary. They're Trump's Gestapo. All that funding's got to go somewhere. That's why they're fucking hiring anybody and everybody. And they're surging all these different places. The economy's collapsing and every job's being replaced with fucking OnlyFans or ICE agent, right? So here we are. What the fuck do we do about this? You got to abolish ICE. You have to abolish ICE. You have to. You have to abolish ICE. You have to have mass trials. You have to get these fucking criminals off the streets. We can't let this slide, bro. We can't let this slide. But I hope Ken Klippenstein keeps getting these leaks because it's interesting to see from the inside what the people who maybe worked in DHS maybe for a decade or 2 decades, and they understand more the ideas of professionalism and the framework and the way it's supposed to work, right? It's interesting to see them say yeah, it's as bad as y'all think it is. Damn, man. That is fucking wild. That is wild. But as I said, all these motherfuckers, all the family members of these people, y'all better get on it, man. Y'all better start disowning ASAP. Anything and everything we can do to reel these motherfuckers in and get them to stop committing the crimes that they're committing, we have to try it. All right, I also got to point this out for you guys. Whistleblower drops largest ever ICE leak to unmask agents. The last straw. So understand something. Let me just point something out very quickly. I don't want to hear a fucking word about doxing. This is not doxing. If you work for the federal government, we are your boss. We pay you. Okay? So your name should already be public. We should know your face. We should know your name. We should know your badge number. We should be able to access your history at a moment's notice to know if you have a track record of committing violence, having complaints, logged against you. We need to know all this. And so the fact that they're covering their face is a crime in and of itself. So this isn't like doxing. This is like doing what should have been done from the very beginning. We should already know all these people's names. And if you say anything other than that, you're a fucking disgusting bootlicker and an authoritarian. There's no way around it. Breaking. ICE exposed. Massive data leak rips the mask off Border Patrol and ICE after deadly shooting. The walls of secrecy protecting ICE and Border Patrol just cracked wide open, and the timing is no accident. In the wake of the heinous killing of Renee Nicole Good, who was murdered by an ICE agent in Minneapolis, a Department of Homeland Security whistleblower has reportedly leaked personal details of roughly 4,500 ICE and Border Patrol employees in what's being described as the largest data breach of DHS staff ever. So the leak came from inside the house. Somebody with a conscience who said, we're supposed to know who these people are. Names, work emails, phone numbers, job roles, resume histories, nearly 2,000 frontline enforcement agents, the very people who conduct raids, arrests, and deportations are now allegedly exposed. The data was reportedly handed to ICE List, a volunteer-run accountability initiative that tracks immigration enforcement officers and incidents. Its founder says the killing of Good was the last straw for many inside DHS. So these are probably the same people that we're talking to, like Ken Klippenstein, by the way. And judging by the scale of the leak, dissent inside the agency is boiling over and it's not just insiders talking. Since the shooting, public trips to ICE List have surged. Hotel workers, bartenders, neighbors, ordinary people are coming forward saying they've had enough of mass agents operating with zero accountability in their communities. One agent involved in the case reportedly lied to neighbors for years, claiming he was a botanist. That's the one who killed Renee Nicole Good. ICE List says it plans to publish most verified names, with limited exceptions for non-enforcement staff like nurses and childcare workers. The goal, they say, isn't harassment, it's accountability in a system where DHS refuses to police itself. Naturally, DHS is furious. Officials insist agents must remain anonymous for their safety. Fuck you! What about the safety of the community, you fucking assholes? While simultaneously defending an agency whose officers routinely conceal their identities while terrorizing families, separating children, and in this case, allegedly killing a mother. Let's be clear, this didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened after years of abuse, secrecy, lies, and impunity. It happened because ICE and Border Patrol have been shielded from consequences while being unleashed on communities with militarized power and political cover. And now the masks are slipping. When the system protects violence and hides the perpetrators, transparency becomes not only inevitable but mandatory. ICE may not like the spotlight, but after Renee Nicole Good, it's one they brought on themselves. Now the list is out there. FYI, the government is paying influencers $8 million to push pro-ICE propaganda online. So some of that budget from the big bullshit bill is going to this. Is what paid professional outside agitators actually look like. ICE is spending $8 million on deals with pro-ICE influencers to push its propaganda online. Guys, let me just say, this is psychotic, okay? I've told you guys, and I'm one of very few outlets out here in these streets, in these online streets, that I've never talked to an advertiser, never done an ad read, and there's a reason for that. You need to know what I'm saying is real. You need to know what I'm saying is my actual opinion and authentic and coming from the depths of my soul. You need to know that. How do you know that that's the case? If I got 17 different fucking brand deals, and so I have every reason in the world to take certain political positions or argue certain things because my money comes from said people who are part of the political landscape, it would make no sense. But here we have the entire right-wing media apparatus. All of MAGA. These are fucking paid hacks. The MAGA pundits, the right-wing pundits, they're getting paid all over the place. They're getting money from all over the place. And now we know ICE is literally paying people to, like, suck them off and act like they're heroes. When we see the videos, we know exactly what they're doing. These people are colossal, disgusting sellouts, and they should immediately get the fuck out of this field of work and go do something else. All of them, by the way, I would say all of them need to be exposed, but the fact of the matter is, it's all the fucking assholes on the right. They're all for sale. Israel's paying them. ICE is paying them. Lord only knows the fucking brand deals they got with degenerate, disgusting gambling companies and shit like that. What are we talking about? There needs to be integrity in this line of work. There needs to be integrity where you have a reason to trust what I'm saying and what people in my seat are saying. But they don't. They've destroyed that trust. And they act, by the way, the thing that pissed me off more than anything is, at least in the past, people knew, hey, the optics of this are bad. Now, it's like, They take the corrupt sellout deals, and then they think nothing of it. It's like, what do you mean? Of course, yeah, ICE paid me. So what? Well, you're a fucking paid hack. That's what, right? Like, nobody should take your word seriously with anything. Because you might as well be like, in NASCAR where they got all the fucking logos, the emblems all over the cars. You should be wearing that on your outfit. You should have fucking emblems all over your outfit because that's what you are. You're a fucking walking billboard. You're not a journalist. You're not a reporter. You're not even a fucking pundit. You're a hack. You're a hack. And that's what these people are, man. So beware. Anybody online overly defending ICE, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is the reality. They're probably getting paid to say the thing that you're seeing. Okay. Breaking. New York Times now says 6 federal prosecutors in Minnesota have just resigned over the Justice Department's push to investigate the widow of Renee Good and the department's reluctance to investigate the ICE agent who shot Good, according to people with knowledge of their decision. That's incredible. So now, basically a mass exodus happening because you got these attorneys going, wait a second now, I'm being instructed to investigate the widowed wife of the victim. Why? Because she argued with a psychotic ICE agent? That's reason to investigate her? What are you, insane? Hell no. And then they go, and by the way, you're not allowed to cooperate and do the investigation for the guy who shot somebody in the face 3 times on camera. We're blocking you from even investigating that. So here you have these 6 federal prosecutors are going, you got to be out of your mind. I'm retiring. I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. This is something that we've seen at every level of government now since Trump got back in office, is all of the actual experts, all the serious people that have institutional knowledge and know-how to dot the I's and cross the T's and do the real work. They're now leaving, and they're being replaced with complete and utter hacks who don't know anything. And this is why they tried to indict James Comey multiple times. It fell apart. They tried to indict Letitia James. It fell apart. He's got former fucking beauty contestants who are loyal to him, to Trump. They're going in there and they're trying to make the case, and they don't know the first thing about the law. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, right? Same shit here. You're trying to cover for the person who murdered somebody on camera, but you're trying to investigate the victim's wife. Everybody knows that's bullshit. Everybody's aware of that. And so there's a backlash, and the backlash is only going to grow, and it should grow. And again, these people, there needs to be accountability. There needs to be justice for what they're doing. They're completely and utterly unhinged, and the real criminals, we all know who the real criminals are. And their day of reckoning will come. We'll arrest them, we'll lock them up, and they'll spend time behind bars. That's going to be the number one litmus test in 2028 for the Democrats, is are you in favor of delivering justice? Are you in favor of law and order and locking up these sons of bitches who fucking broke the law on a daily basis and didn't give a fuck about it? And if you say you're in favor of that, congratulations, you have a chance to win. If you say you're not, get the fuck out of the way. We have no interest in you. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.